Now, I know I'm the Disney and superhero guy, but by definition on Wikipedia, He-Man is a superhero, so I'm going to cover this anyway. Hello everyone and welcome to the Animated Apparel Company YouTube channel. I'm your resident superhero nerd, Aaron Waller, and in today's video, I wanted to talk about the brand new He-Man or Masters of the Universe Revelation series that just dropped on Netflix. It's only part 1, so it's only 5 episodes, 30 minutes each, and I binged the whole thing in a single afternoon, as I'm sure you may have already, but I just really felt like I needed to talk about it, so here we go. And actually, fun fact, this was supposed to be a Snake Eyes video, but I misunderstood and it was only released in theaters and not on home media. So I didn't want to spend my first in-theater experience on a movie that, to be honest, I wasn't that excited about to begin with. So I figured, why not just call an audible and let's talk about He-Man instead. Masters of the Universe Revelations is the story of the War of Eternia beginning again in what may be the final battle between He-Man and Skeletor. It's a new animated series from writer-director Kevin Smith. Now that's not the synopsis I would have gone with, that's actually IMDb's synopsis, and I felt like that it's extremely vague and doesn't give anything away, because if I were to give you my version of this, it would be way too confusing for any casual viewer. But then again, extremely vague is kind of how I would sum up this show. Now, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe originally came out in the 1980s as a toy line, comic book series, and obviously animated show. But I'm a 90s baby. I was actually born in 1990, so I missed out on all of that, and now I'm considered old by today's generation, and I don't even know what area I blend in with here, but I mostly caught He-Man on reruns or just through various other videos. Anyway, long story short, He-Man really isn't in my wheelhouse in terms of what I grew up with, so I don't have a big nostalgic attached to it, but I was still really excited for this series because I would like to jump in 2 feet and get to know this universe a little bit better. But after watching the series, I kind of feel like I have less of an understanding of it than I would have more of an understanding, because this is more of a reboot or I guess a continuation of the original series, so a lot of the characters and development you don't even get introduced into. You just get thrown into this war. They don't even tell you who He-Man is, what his abilities are. They're highly basing this series on nostalgia. So for even fans such as myself, who weren't even born around that time or had experienced the original He-Man, it's kind of confusing and off-putting when most of the characters that you are supposed to know, like He-Man, like Skeletor, don't even end up being in the majority of the series, and it's actually more focused on the sub-characters. So a lot of the characters who maybe didn't get all that time and attention from the original series, they get a little bit more of a forefront in this and a little bit more of a spotlight, so they get that shining moment rather than He-Man, Skeletor, and the ones you are actually there to see. And that's very much a negative for me because I want to know who these characters are, what their motivations are, and why I should care about them. But this show very much rushes that, even though it's only 5 30-minute episodes, which is very fast in itself. But it just didn't feel like I got to know a lot of the characters. They just throw you in, they're like, here's an adventure, they're going on it, and just be there for the ride. But when certain plot points happen, I kind of don't care because I don't have an attachment to certain characters. I don't have the buildup of the storylines from previous shows or just being introduced to them in general to really care if a character dies, if a character is not showing up, if there's a relationship that's just not being withheld where there's a daughter and a father who just sort of are breaking up and not really having that good relationship. I don't care because I don't get any understanding as to what happened there. There is a little bit of a tidbit as to why it's happening, but really it moves so fast, I don't have the time to care. But something massively positive about the show that I have to give full credit for has to be the animation. Now, this animation is probably one of the best in my opinion. It's kind of a blend of anime with sort of a modern animation style. I don't know what to call it, but I definitely did like it. All of the animation stuff was super cool. The way the camera moved, all the bright colors, everything that happened, all the action was super cool, which definitely helps considering that certain aspects like the story and other pieces of the overall puzzle just don't really fit well for me. So the fact that I kept coming back, especially for the animation, that's a testament to it being so good. But what it really boils down to is Masters of the Universe worth watching? Is this worth your time? Should you definitely check it out? That's kind of a tough answer for me because I feel like you definitely should check it out because it is kind of interesting. It's got sort of a fun fantasy element, definitely plenty of action like I mentioned with the animation. It's very good. But if you're not a fan of the original Masters of the Universe, He-Man, or even have any sort of basis there, you kind of are not going to know what's going on. And I mean, take it from me, I literally experienced that. So I don't feel like it's worth watching right now. Maybe once part 2 comes out, because there is a bit of a cliffhanger, you should definitely check it out then. But because you binged it so fast, I mean, again, just a single afternoon, I binged this thing and I was done. And I feel like I want to finish it, but now I have to wait for part 2, which I think that comes out in a month or something like that, or a couple months. But that seems like a really long time. I feel like if they would have just waited, released the whole thing all at once, maybe it would have had a little bit more impact on me. But I think it's just kind of a skip for now, or at least wait until either a part 2 comes out or even a fuller story of several seasons come out and you can go on a full adventure. This one has an adventure, but that's about it. So those are pretty much my thoughts on the Masters of the Universe Revelation series that is out now on Netflix. Have you been able to see it? Did you watch it? Did you like it? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below. Also, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos from me or the rest of the AAC team. Oh, and we forgot to pay the bills. How dare I? Also, be sure to check out animatedapparelcompany.com for all your awesome nerdy merch from Marvel, DC, Star Wars, video games, anime, Masters of the Universe, and He-Man, and so much more. And be sure to use my special code Aaron20 to get 20% off your order, add more stuff to your cart, and save some more money. But other than that, those are all my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next video.